Haha, we are going. I don't know why my voice is so dry today. It is what it is. I've been on the phone all day, that's probably why. Just waiting for our boy George to get online. There we go. There we go. We're rocking and we're rolling.
What's going on, brother?
How's it going?
Great, man. How you doing?
Good, good. How was the podcast?
Haven't started yet. Just got out here. We go live tomorrow and start getting everything going.
Nice. Is that something that you're hosting or you're just appearing for now?
Now, this is part of the Warrior Empire. So we are everybody who's going to be a part of the Warrior Empire has to go through an immersion, and this is what I'm doing. And just like every other Warrior event, I have no idea what the hell's ahead of me other than where to be and what to wear.
All right, so you're doing that with Alex then, Alice Nichols?
I honestly, I have no idea who's coming. They didn't tell me anybody, anything. All I know is that I got to be at the airport tomorrow at 11 in recon gear, and that's it.
Nice.
So
it's always an adventure.
that's it. That's it. That's the enjoyable part, though. It's a little bit of mystery, a little bit of adventure, a little exciting, a little bit of fear, all that kind of good stuff. A little anxiety going on, but it's always turns out to be a fun adventure. So
Yeah, absolutely. If because I know Alex is going through, oh, he's going through Kingdom right now, so that's I think different.
yeah, Kingdom's definitely different. So this is for only for the certified trainers
Okay.
that want to join the Warrior network. If you've been on their Warrior Empire network, they've got what is it? Date Your Wife. They've got the Warrior Week podcast. They used to have Warrior Wealth. Then they've got all the individuals, certified trainers that have already joined up. So
Nice.
just going through the process.
I hear you. I'm next in line for Warrior Week. Got to get on that pretty quick here.
Yeah. When do you have one scheduled?
No, not yet. I'm thinking beginning of next year is when I'll aim for that. Get a few things in order first.
Yeah, it's an absolute must. It's almost the best experience I've had. I did through the certified trainer process. We did which they're not doing anymore, but they did a Warrior Week certified trainer edition, and that was with Coach Jesse. That was a
I bet.
massively impactful week. I never knew Coach Jesse that well, and he's got a completely different style than Coach Sam and Coach Garrett and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the quiet guy that just smiles and then punches you in the face, and you never even knew it was coming. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's a badass dude. So
Nice. Yeah, Sam Nider was the one who walked me through my pit and has me going back there like 10 times over the next 24 hours. So
yeah, it's a nonstop evolution, finding your pit and finding your light along the way. That's part of the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. It's just, I think I've come across a special skill of finding the dark and finding the light within that darkness. There's a lot of people scared to go that direction. For me, I kind of embrace it. It's been difficult getting to the point where I have no issues going there, but being able to go in, dive in, and find your gift out of that, it's an amazing feeling to do that every day through the stack. And for those out there that are watching that don't know what the stack is, you need to figure out something in your life, because the stack is the single most important tool, impactful tool that I use every single day. Core 4 is great, puts you in a place of power. But for me, being an emotional guy, and, if you want to put stupid medical terms on it, which I think are bullshit, but, kind of ADD and, anxiety, and I've suffered depression over my life, it's probably the best tool in the world to be able to keep me out of that shit.
Yeah.
And, most people just don't get it. I didn't even get it. I resisted the hell out of stacking every day when it was introduced to me, even going through the CT process. I resisted the hell out of it. And once I got about 20 in, I became addicted. And it was like, this is the best thing on earth. I can take all my shit every single day and process my anger, my pain, my hurt, no matter what it is, I can work my way through.
Absolutely, that's huge. It does make a big difference. I'm still getting in the routine with it. I still catch myself trying to bullshit and go, no, we're not going there today. But
well, I'll tell you, I'm a routine person. So if something's not part of my routine in the morning, it doesn't get done. If things don't go the way they're planned, there's days where shit doesn't get done. Like yesterday morning was a really good example. I had to get up at 3:30 in the morning to be able to leave at 5:30 to go drive an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, to go take my daughter to school for her first day. And because of the routines I've built, I'm able to get shit done in the same fashion no matter what time I get up. But here's the crazy piece about my stack. I call it either laying the golden egg or shitting the golden brick.
yeah.
So this is kind of the fun and crazy fact about me. So the same way we have tons of shit that we deal with on a daily basis, whether it be from spouses, work, family, kids, whatever it is. The stack is designed to deal with that shit. So the same way that I deal with my shit emotionally is the same way I deal with my shit physically. So every single morning when I take a shit is when I do my stack. So I call it, taking, laying the golden egg, because that is, I'm getting my goal at that moment. And, when I told my guys in Warrior Week 44, Kings 44, what the hell I was doing with my routine, they were like cracking up, because it's like the funniest shit on earth. But, I was looking for an efficient way to get things done in the morning. And I had this 20, 30 minutes in the morning that was like doing nothing. And I was just sitting here scrolling on Facebook or doing whatever, wasting time. And I'm like, well, why don't I use my time more efficiently here and do my stack? And that's what I do every single day. So I lay the golden egg.
Absolutely. It's hugely invaluable for, I mean, even like our topic today, the projections and shadows. It's easy to catch yourself and call yourself on the bullshit when you're going through a process and you know your routine.
Yeah. And, projecting shit onto other people, the stack is what's helped me find that in myself, because inside of the stack, it has you turn your story inside out. So, I'll take a small portion of the stack and break it down. You got walking the block. You got your original version of the story. So, I'll talk about just something that just comes straight to mind is inside of my business for a very long time, I tried to pawn off leadership to everybody else. Now, yes, there is delegation to leadership, but I was wanting everybody else to do things that I wasn't willing to do. So at the time, even my ex-wife was part of it. I wanted her to do certain things I wasn't willing to do. So I kept pushing her. And then I would shit on her when she didn't, come up with what I wanted to, or, live up to the expectation I was setting. So I was constantly projecting this leadership shit onto her when I wasn't leading myself. So, the original story is, so-and-so isn't leading. They need to take responsibility for what they're doing. Well, the second part of the stack is, you know, what's the opposite version of that? Well, what's the me version? So the me version is, I'm not leading. So immediately, once you do this on an everyday basis, you take the original story that somebody's not doing something or whatever you're projecting onto people, and then you're saying, okay, well, how do I do that?
Mhm.
And as I started doing this on a daily basis, I started to see everything that I'm pissed off about to other people about, I'm doing myself. And
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, well, I shouldn't be pissed off at other people when I can't do it myself. How can I expect other people to lead when I don't lead?
Yeah.
And then the other side is the opposite version. Okay, well, you know, so and so, the original story is so and so isn't leading. Okay, well, how are they leading? So you start finding the reasons that they're leading and the evidence that they are leading. And I'm like, well, shit, they're doing the shit that they're supposed to above and beyond, yet I'm still criticizing them for not doing shit that I want to do.
Mhm.
And then the last part of it is the desired version. Okay, well, how do you want this story to really turn out to be? Well, in this case, I want me to fucking lead so I can teach other people how to lead in the same fashion or in a fashion that's effective.
Mhm.
So walking yourself through the block, it literally can happen just that quick when you're in the middle of a story.
Yeah.
And another good example of this is going back to, I want to say, April time frame. At the time, my girlfriend had asked me to go spend a Sunday afternoon over a friend's house. They were having a cookout. And it was right after I was dropping my kids off, which was like around 5:30.
Mhm.
And my immediate answer was, I can't. I didn't get any work done this weekend. I have my kids. I just can't. I got to get stuff done. And there was a big time crunch to get, all the work done for CT before graduation time frame. So I was pushing hard. I was pushing 16, 18-hour days every single day between, my normal business and getting my CT work done.
Mhm.
So literally within a matter of 10 seconds inside of my head, I literally walked the block with myself. Well, what's the opposite version of that? Well, what's the me version? And I
Mhm.
was like, I can go. Why am I not going? And the
Yeah.
opposite version was, okay, well, the opposite version is I go because she sacrificed all this time for me, and I've been completely non-existent because I'm working around the clock, and she wants like 3 hours of my time.
Mhm.
I'm like, what kind of selfish asshole are you to not sacrifice 3 hours for somebody that brings you dinner every night, that, is sacrificing time because you're out there, doing your work, trying to get, accomplish something. She just wanted 3 hours. And
Mhm.
within a matter of like 10 seconds, I stacked myself and I was like, I can't go. Yes, I can go. And she's like,
Yeah.
what? And I explained what went through my head, and she just laughed. And, like for 2 days, she was just so appreciative of the fact that I just sacrificed for her. And it
Mhm.
made me feel good to turn that story on myself and realize that, you got to deposit into people as well when they're depositing in you. You can't just keep taking and taking and taking and expect to get anything in return. At some point, you're going to run out of credits. Just like a bank account, you're going to run out of money in the love bank and you're going to be screwed.
Yeah, that's not fun for anybody. I
No.
think we've all been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. It's mostly in past relationships that I catch myself. There's not really too much going on right now. I've learned from, I catch myself all the time, and I stack about it often, where I'll be like, you'll be in it's client situations mostly, where someone's just like right getting under the skin, right wanting everything for nothing, and it's just like you're ready to strangle them or throw them off the balcony, and then it's like, well, what's my part to play in this? What have I done to contribute that? Chances are there is a situation somewhere when the relationship started where I set the bar here when it should have been here, and now they're expecting that all across the board except in one area where I set the expectation.
Yep. And I deal with the same thing in my industry. It's a very cutthroat business. And people come in and they want things all the time for nothing. and you know they want the biggest discounts, and they want everything repaired right now. And it's like, okay, you want things done right, you want things for the best price, and you want miracles all at the same time. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't work that way. You get so many things, but you can't have them all. You can have a good price, but you can't have it quickly.
Yeah.
And you can have a good price and you can possibly, get it quickly, but you're probably not going to get it done right. So, you can have a couple things, but you can't have them all. So you have to choose and set the frame for people on, this is the expectations that I'm setting forward for you. And you need to understand that, listen, this is the way business goes. And,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing that I've realized, and as far as the projections go in this topic, is that I criticize people all the time for wanting all these things. Yet I would go out and I would do the same things to a lot of my vendors. I'd be like, what's the best price? Okay, well, what's the best price if I buy this much or that much? And in my industry, most of my vendors all have structured pricing, the more you buy, but there's some that have wiggle room.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm the type of person that usually makes it worth their while. But a lot of people just have this scarcity mindset that they got to have everything for nothing,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't value themselves. Therefore, they're not going to value anybody else.
Yeah.
And I started setting the frame on people that, listen, if you don't value me, either by the price that I set or by paying me, I don't need you.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I create value for other people. I do valuable things for people. My business does valuable things for people. It can't all be right away, but you got to be able to accept the fact that if you want value from me, you have to pay for it. That's just
Mm-hmm.
the way the marketplace works. And the other side of that is that, I deal with a lot of landscapers, tree guys, a lot of people that, deal with outdoor power equipment. Well, the other side of that is, okay, I run a business, but I'm not willing to run my business efficiently enough to have ample spares. So when
Mm-hmm.
one thing goes down, oh my God, the whole world's coming to an end. You can't run a business. It's like saying, okay, my computer shut off, therefore I can't run my internet-based business. No, I'm going to be down at Best Buy or whatever store, then, within 10 minutes, and I'm going to have something else to get me up and running.
Yeah.
And I ran into that situation a couple years ago. My one forklift was older, and it kept, breaking on me, and it went down and went down. And we had literally a full tractor trailer load of machinery coming in. And I went down that afternoon to the forklift place, bought a $25,000 forklift, had it delivered at 7 o'clock the next morning to be able to make sure that I could do my job and unload the truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't going to live in a place of, okay, I can't do something because something breaks.
Yeah.
And, I don't, when business owners come to me with that kind of scarcity, it doesn't work in business. If you live inside of that mindset, you're not going to have a successful business. You're never, ever going to make it big living in the small mindset.
Yeah, it's not sustainable whatsoever. There's no progress. And that same concept that you just discussed, that's all areas of the core four. We do that with our relationships. We do that with our connection, our spirituality, our religion, whatever. Working out is one of the bad ones. Oh, I don't feel 100% today, so I'm not gonna go take care of my health. I'm not gonna go hit the gym. And then you catch yourself, you see somebody who's not in the best shape walking down the street, you go, you fuck, why aren't you taking care of yourself?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how the outlook changes once you start doing things. And, the other side of that is that, I had to be kicked in the dick really hard. I had to, my wife, literally, ex-wife, had to literally ask me to leave the house. I don't want to say boot me out because she didn't really boot me out, but she
Mm-hmm.
asked me to leave. And I had to be separated in order for me to finally, after many years, get my head out of my ass. And
Mm-hmm.
it still took me after that, another almost 9 months and a lot of CT training to finally pull myself into a place of power. You know, it came down to, you know, when it comes to relationships, this is the best advice I have for people. It's literally, it's like, what do you want and why do you want it?
Yeah.
You know, and that's one thing that I completely missed for 40 years of my life. I had no idea inside of a relationship what I even wanted or why I wanted it. And it wasn't until I got extremely clear about that that I was able to, you know, actually make some determinations and make progress inside of my life from a relationship standpoint.
Yeah, that's huge. It's a simple question, but it's not an easy one to answer.
No, it's not. And it took me months to figure that out. And that's, you know, that's being at the core of Warrior, inside of Warrior, weekly training, CT training, literally, you know, 20 plus hours a week of being inside of Warrior and, you know, inside of their CT training to figure this out, to finally get my head out of my ass, be like, you know, let the angels sing and the light shine. They're like, oh, here you go. You know, and it's
Yeah.
like, you know, how much pain do you have to endure before you actually just get to the truth of what you actually want? And once I did that, you know, everything else has been cake since. It's been, you know, and I burned a lot of bridges in the process. And, you know, I've spent a lot of time rebuilding those bridges with my ex-wife and, you know, my kids and, you know, other people that I've, you know, literally just burnt to the ground prior to that. And, you know, I made every mistake possible. And that's, you know, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm in the coaching world, because, you know, who better to lead people through their shit than somebody that's literally fucked up everything. You know, about the only thing I didn't do was burn my business to the ground. And that was despite myself. You know, that's 46 years of a lot of building to get to that point, and 17 years of me building a business to get to that point to where, you know, it almost became unburnable. But, you know, pretty much everything outside the business got torched. I had to torch my body. I posted a picture on Instagram the other day. I was like 20 pounds heavier. And even when I went back and looked at the picture, I was like, holy shit. And, you know, I torched my relationship with God. You know, it just, the marriage got burnt to the ground. The relationship with my ex got burnt to the ground. And literally, I had to build everything back block by block by block by block to get where I am today. And, you know, one of the other things that people just don't do enough is stop for like a second and realize how far you've come. A lot of business people are like, okay, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. And they never stop for a second to realize, okay, man, I was way over here and now I'm over here.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was, you know, when I look back, it was last fall. And I did my first Warrior Week 33 back in, I think it was October 2016. And my target wasn't to make more money. It was to be able to have more time for me and more time for my kids. And last fall, I looked back and I was like, holy shit, I did it. I just stopped and I was like, you know, I have my kids every Friday. I have, you know, on the weekends that I have them, I take off. I've taken off for Warrior events more than I ever taken off before. You know, in the past year, I've probably been out of my business for at least 3 months or more. And that was unthinkable 2 years ago. It wasn't even a thought process that I could do that. And, you know, I was like, shit, I actually built something to where I could do the things that I want now.
That's huge, being able to make that separation enough to go forward, but also have, I don't know what to call it, but the ability, I guess, to look back and just appreciate where you've come from and where you are now. There's a difference. There's a huge difference between looking back and keeping yourself stuck in that same rut, in that same pit, and looking back to say, well, I jumped the canyon,
Yep.
or whatever the analogy you want to use on that one is.
It's the difference between looking in the rear view and living in the rear view.
Yeah.
You use the past to catapult yourself forward, but don't live there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't drive forward looking in the rear view.
Unfortunately, that's what the majority of us do. It's human nature, right? We look at all the experiences that we've had happen up to where we are right now, and we project all of that into whatever's going on around us in the present, into the future, and it slows us down. It just creates walls, and we don't go anywhere.
Yeah, and here's an interesting fact. I was having a conversation the other day, and the person I was talking to has had some pretty bad family stuff, back from their childhood between a couple fathers. Stepfather being one of the most hurtful part, and she's trying to realize and understand how to move forward. And part of not being able to process the pain or wanting to be able to move past that was holding on to that if I let go of this pain over here, that I can't move forward here, or I can't keep a door open.
Mm-hmm.
So I challenged her with this, that, consider the possibility that if you actually can close the door behind you, that you'll have more doors open up in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that you can't have a door open for somebody in the future. It just means that all the shit from the past gets closed. And,
Mm-hmm.
like the universe has so many doors that we're allowed to have open at one time.
Yeah.
So as long as we're keeping doors open in the past, the doors to the future are staying closed. And
Yep.
there comes a point where you have to, and it comes further than just dealing with the pain. There's being aware of the pain. Like, a lot of people know that they have pain. Then there's doing something about the pain,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with it, and then there's processing pain. So you can deal with pain. We all deal with pain. But being aware of it, dealing with it, is not processing pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I explain it like this. There's a bank account. So you have all this pain stored in a bank account. Well, you can get a statement every month and be aware that there's pain in this account. And you can even go to the bank and you can touch this pain.
Mm-hmm.
But just like a credit card, you go to the store and you swipe your card. At that point, when you start to process pain, just like you process a credit card, that pain actually leaves the bank. So that is the point which you're allowed to move on, and you give yourself permission to move on. Now, there's secrets to this. I'm not going to give all the secrets right now because
Of course not.
that would be no fun. That's what coaching's all about. But being able to process pain is a whole different world than just being aware of it and just dealing with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, the way I usually explain it, like if those doors of the past are still open, it's not being resolved, and you're still trying to move forward, it's it's not even an anchor. It's an envelope, and it stays with you, and it doesn't stop moving forward. So whatever is going on in the future and the now, you're just attracting whatever you're dragging behind you in the future, just with new people. And now you're stuck in this rut of everything's the same, everything's the same, everything's the same. And it's breaking that pattern, breaking those cycles, and just saying, enough, and using the tools and using the systems to just break those molds and say, fuck it. Like, I'm here and this is where I'm going, and nothing's going to stop me now.
Yep. And that anchor, which I use the anchor analogy all the time, that anchor will continue to drag and pick up shit. And as it picks up shit, it gets heavier and heavier and heavier until you literally will stop. And there comes a point where you have to deal with the anchor. And if you don't deal with the anchor, you're just never going to go anywhere. You're going to be stuck in the same place. And I've watched I've watched so many people in the past year that literally just are stuck in a place and they don't want to leave. It's they're so happy inside of their comfort zone that anything outside of their pit seems scary. Like, you know, most people like, okay, I feel really good up here. I feel like shit down here. Well, they've lived down here so much, they don't even know what up here looks like. And it's just scary as hell. The peak of the mountain is terrifying. And, you know, those are the people that even when you punch them in the face, figuratively, and you get them to open their eyes, they're just like, oh shit, well, I'm looking up at that mountain and that peak, and that's too high. I can't go up there.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's sad because, you know, it doesn't take as much as most people think. It's kind of, I equate it to the first day of school as a kid. It's, you know, that first day of school is always scary and terrifying. But once you're there, it's like, no big deal. And then you're fine for the rest of the year. And then, you know, you're off for 3 months and you come back and it's like, oh shit, I got to go back to school again. And, you know, it's like, I don't want to go. And once you're there, it's fine. And it's no different with pain. Once you start to process the pain, it's not as bad as you think it is. And you just have to open your eyes and realize that your pain cascades across your entire life. You know, if your work life and your business life is screwed, well, guess what? Your marriage is going to be screwed at some point too. And guess what? You're probably going to have some kind of unhealthy lifestyle inside of your body, whether it's overeating, stress eating, smoking, drinking, drugs, pills, antidepressants, anti-anxiety medicine, you know, something, you know, sitting on the couch and just doing nothing but watching TV, scrolling on Facebook, whatever the case might be. You know, there's going to be something. You're going to probably look at God or whatever you want to call it. You're probably going to say, like, God's not looking out for me. You know, like, my life's screwed. Nobody's looking out for me. And then everything just circles back around. And before you know it, your whole life's screwed. I found it. I found that place.
Yep. Yeah, I think we all know that at some level or another. I think Garrett said this a couple of weeks back and it struck home. The same energy required to produce in your business is the same level of energy that is required in your relationships, and vice versa. It's the exact same energy all across the board. And so it's just everything reflects itself all across the board. It's easy for somebody outside of it to see and go, whoa, hold up a second. But the thing is, Julie, stress eating ice cream while I'm watching this. That's cute. But so we also I see so many people that they also get distracted thinking that, well, if I leave this pit, there's going to be another one 2 steps away. So whether I'm here or I'm here, it doesn't matter because it's all going to be roughly the same. And it's like, well, no, you're going to stumble into another pit because you want to stumble in another pit because that's your comfort zone. You will create what you're comfortable with. It's just, how do you take a step back? It's getting them to see you can take a step back. You can reprogram yourself, so to speak, to get around it, to get through it, to get over it, whatever you need to do. It takes commitment and doing the work, and each step gets easier. Step is just.
This is one of the things that I've equated to. And, you know, when it comes to your pit and when it comes to power and when it comes to energy. So, you know, we are pure energy and we are pure power. We're almost self-sustaining. We need, just like a car, you have to put gas into it. Just like, you know, a lamp, you have to plug it into the wall. You know, we eat food for our energy. That is what creates our energy and our power. But we also have a life source inside of us that keeps us going nonstop. Well, anybody that understands electricity, and this may go over some people's heads, but if you look at alternating current power, it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. It's what creates smooth power and a more effective power to be able to use with electrical devices and stuff like that. It's a clean power. So in order to have the ups on the power scale, you have to be willing to experience the lows. And you're only ever going to be as happy as you are willing to go into your darkness, into your pit, into the depths of your soul, into all the shit that kills you. So if you're willing to go deep into your shit, you'll be able to achieve a higher level of happiness. But most people like living that direct current, that middle line of just, I don't want to be too sad. And they never experience anything really happy. They're just kind of like mediocre. And for me, you know, there's a part of, I think, any businessman that has a little bit of crazy to him. I have a whole lot of crazy to me. But for me, you know, I've lived the highs and lows my entire life. And there came a point where I didn't want to live the lows anymore. And I started medicating myself. I didn't understand anything about me. I didn't understand anything about, you know, how my brain worked. I just understood that, you know, I would go into these bouts of depression where literally I just wanted to sleep all the time. But on the other side of that, literally the other half of the time, I was like crazy, on fire, like just explosive. But I had to live both of them in order to get one of them. And, you know, if I didn't live the lows, I couldn't have the highs. And the minute I started medicating, and I started Wellbutrin back in like 2000, I want to say 4, somewhere in that area. And, you know, it kept me stable, kept my mood, you know, just somewhere in the middle. And I never got too happy and I never got too sad. And I started realizing, going through the stack, going through 3 Warrior Weeks, that was not my sweet spot. Like, I couldn't live in the middle anymore. I wasn't happy there.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah, I was living good. But for my brain, good wasn't where I needed to be. I'm either Mach 3, my hair on fire, or I'm dying. So, you know, that's all in the same place where I learned, you know, the stack and figuring all this stuff out. And through, you know, I think I'm on stack 295 or something like that I've done, you know, total. And, you know, I'm learning every day more about how I operate and how my brain works in order to make me happy. And I just, you know, I have to be willing to deal with the lows. And back in June, I cut my dose of Wellbutrin literally in half.
Nice.
And by the end of the year, I'm going to be off of it completely. And, you know, it's just, you know, knowing myself as well as I do, doctors just give terms to be able to hand out medication. And I think there's a lot of people that just have so much shit built up inside of them that they can't deal with it, that they don't know what to deal with it. It's just like, literally, it's like being at home plate, but you got like 10 people throwing pitches at you, and you just can't swing all the balls, and eventually they're going to hit you.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're overwhelmed by how much shit's being thrown at you, and you got to be able to deal with it.
Yeah, definitely. Another, the way that I look at it is, I don't mean this offensively either. A midget walking up the stairs playing with a yo-yo. It can only, like you said, it can only go up and down so much. You're always going to have that baseline. But unless you're experiencing the lows, you're not going to experience the highs. You can't have the light without the dark. It's just, there's always that balance that's going to be maintained. But unless we're willing to look at ourselves and search within ourselves for why am I projecting this happiness? Why am I projecting this anger? What's going on? And your understanding, it's just going to be chaos. It's always going to be chaos, but it's controlled chaos once you understand everything.
Yeah, and the chaos, you know, within the stack, what I found is that, you know, I would go into these drifts that would last months. You know, I could go into a depression state that just lasted for so long. And, you know, I think since I've been knees deep into the stack, you know, the longest drift that I had was literally like a week. And it's, you know, it's just been, you know, knowing where I've been and knowing where I've come, to say that I've had a drift that put me into a depressed state for a week is like miracles.
Mhm.
And this is the really, really crazy part of this. So last week, yeah, it was just about a week ago, I had a conversation with my mom. Just some small stuff, and my sister was there. And my mom is borderline diabetic. She's 78 years old, and her body's failing, and her brain starts to go with it. So the worse her body feels, the worse her brain feels, and it's
Mhm.
also vice versa. So the worse the mind feels, guess what? Your body will follow. So when
Yeah.
you're carrying around a lot of pain, when you're carrying around a lot of stress, when you're carrying a lot of shit inside of you, you're pulling that anchor that's like literally just about dragging you. Guess what? Your body's going to follow,
Mhm.
because your body does not want to carry you when you're carrying that much weight.
Mhm.
So we had a conversation, and she was having all these stories about me and my sister being angry about her eating her M&Ms at night. So, she's got this sugar addiction, and we're trying to get her to at least slow that down
Yeah.
or stop it completely at some point, so she stops gaining weight and she doesn't, go full diabetic. So we were talking about, you know, her story of, she feels guilty. So she hides her candy. So nobody
Mhm.
knows about it. So there's the first lie. You're carrying the lie with you. Two, she sneaks it at night. So she has the guilt of knowing that she's doing this behind everybody's back. And it's
Mhm.
also counterproductive to her health. And then three, it's like, okay, if people find out about this, they're going to be mad at me.
Mhm.
And then we had this conversation. I'm like, nobody's mad at you. Okay, we just want the best for you. And we
Yeah.
want you to get better. And we want you to feel great every single day of your life. We don't care about what you eat, how you eat it. What we care is that if you live a year, or you live a day, or you live 10 years, that the quality of life that you have is going to be great. Nothing
Mhm.
more, nothing less. No guilt, no shame. Like for the whole entire next week, she was like, I feel great. And I'm like, yeah, it's what happens when you start. That was processing pain for her. She started to see it, feel it,
Yeah.
and understand it. And she was like, she felt great. And she actually spent the whole weekend with me this weekend, with my kids there. And she had a
Nice.
really good time. She got around really well. And, she still had some M&Ms, but nowhere, I think she limited how much stuff she had. And I'm like, we had some more thoughts, and it just frees the soul when you start letting stuff out. When you stop suppressing the feelings, the thoughts, the guilt, the shame, the shilt. The
Mhm.
shilt is deadly. It's deadly to your body. It's deadly to your brain. It's deadly to everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, huge. I totally get it, man. I'm coming out of, well, I'm pretty much out of a almost 3 year drift. That's where I was before I got into Warrior, so I totally get it.
So you said you had to go into one of your pits today. What was that all about?
Uh, you know what? I booked a coaching session thinking that I had a production problem. I have a commitment problem. So that's where that went. There's just we were going through and it's just like there's a layer, there's a layer, there's a layer, there's a layer, and they just kept going and going and going and going. And eventually it was just like, okay, we're gonna start here. Start at the very beginning from when you were 7 years old. Forget about the rest. You're just gonna go, you're gonna visit with yourself. You're gonna replay all the trauma, all the abuse over and over and over again. You're gonna go through it, you're gonna find your message, and you're gonna move on. And once that's done, once you've forgiven yourself and all the parties involved for everything and gotten the message, you're gonna move on to the next one and repeat and repeat and repeat and just keep working the way all the way up. So
That's it. It's amazing how your 7-year-old self can literally cover up, hide all the things that it's like this big mask of your life of everything that's ever affected you and how you react to everything. So this is my lesson behind that, and this is
It
the
pulls
lesson
through
behind,
too, right?
yeah, my 7-year-old. So this is the pain that I experienced as a kid. And my father, he was a tough guy, and by no means am I trying to besmirch his life and the things that he did.
Yeah.
But there, he was raised by a mother that basically bailed on him, dropped him off at his aunt and his grandmother's house. He was birthed from a guy that literally was screwing everybody around Baltimore at the time. So he wasn't even part of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So he was abandoned. So he went through all that stuff, but his aunt and his grandmother were very loving. But still, on the backside of this, he always had, in the back of his mind, the fact that, here he was, am I not good enough?
Mm-hmm.
So me growing up, there were never very many I love yous. There weren't that many attaboys. I'm proud of you. Good job, son. All these things. There were just, they were almost non-existent. They were here and there, but not often. And my way of reacting is okay, well, if this wasn't good enough, let me do something better to maybe he'll be proud of me then.
Mm-hmm.
Let me do something better the next time, maybe he'll be proud of me then. So my entire life, I've literally just pushed and pushed and pushed to be better on no matter what I've ever done. So, and the other side of that was, there was do it right the first time or don't do it at all. So there was this perfectionism mentality that was implanted into me. So my entire life has been built upon this foundation of, one, I want acceptance, and two, I need to be liked.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be perfect about it. So none of these things served me on both spectrums. So what I found is that the same things that literally have held me back in so many aspects were also the things that propelled me forward in other aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So by processing this pain and by actually dealing with it and processing it and letting it out, I was able to determine, okay, well, I don't need acceptance. The only person that I truly need acceptance from is me and God.
Mm-hmm.
So if I do things that make me proud and that make God proud, I'm doing okay. And I'm still working on the God thing because you know what? I'm a sinner like anybody else. I still cuss. I still say stupid shit. I still do dumb shit. But, hell, if there weren't sinners, we wouldn't need churches, right?
Oh, exactly.
We wouldn't need confession. But I've become accepting of me and who I am. And being able to find that place of, being on a video right now or any other video. And that was where I found this, is that I had a hard time doing Facebook Lives. I was like, oh, these people are going to judge me. They're going to hate me.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to think I'm this or they're going to think I'm that. And I'm like, as I dealt with this, I'm like, well, why do I even care?
Yeah.
The people that need to hear my message are going to hear my message. The people that don't hear my message or are offended by my message are going to be offended. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
But the people that need to hear it need to hear it.
Absolutely.
And I said, okay, well, I can do this. So,
Mm-hmm.
Day by day by day, doing Facebook Live after Facebook Live after Facebook Live, I got comfortable with it. And I stopped caring about what people thought. My first step in destroying that myth was I pulled an M&M. And this is a very sore subject for my ex-wife because I let a lot of shit out. I literally cleaned my closet. And when I cleaned my closet, there was some damage and some carnage that kind of spilled over.
Yeah.
And I've never really apologized for it, for the little bit that I drug her into that. and it was not intentional. It was one of those things where things just started flowing. But
Yeah.
for me, it was okay. If I'm going to live in this public world, I can't have skeletons chase me. I
Mhm.
can't have people constantly saying, well, okay, this guy claims to be all this, but he did that. Well, guess what? I put all that shit out in the world for everybody to hear, everybody to see. And it's
Mhm.
like, okay, yeah, I did some dumb shit inside of my marriage. I did dumb shit outside of my marriage. I did dumb shit all over the place. You
Mhm.
know, I wasn't a great human being by any standard. But just because you were in a place doesn't mean you can't change things and can't, fix things along the way and make them better. And, right now, my ex and I have a fantastic relationship. We've finally gotten to a point in which, we can work together in my business. She works for me as well and has continued to do
Mhm.
so through this entire process. You know,
That's
she's
awesome.
yeah, well, she's dealt with a lot of shit in the process. My
Yeah,
current
of
girlfriend
course.
worked for me at the same time, and my girlfriend worked right in front of her for like 2 3 months, and literally had that in her face. And you know, I look back and I'm like, man, that probably wasn't the best thing to do.
Yeah.
But through the process of me screwing a lot of stuff up, through the process of me damaging relationships, through the process of me just burning everything to the ground, I was able to find out more about me, understand more about me, and actually give a shit about other people to the point where I could repair these relationships. And that's
Mhm.
where it all started for me, was when I started processing my pain. this, this was the number one thing. I never, through marriage counseling, all the bullshit that I'd ever been through, my number one thing is like, I'm not empathetic whatsoever. I can't
Mhm.
feel anybody's pain. I can't even remotely understand anybody else's pain. Like, people cried, it made me uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And even with my wife or my kids or whatever, I was uncomfortable all the time. And when I dealt with my own shit, when I processed my own shit, I was able to understand the pain of everyone else around me and start addressing it. And the pain that
Mhm.
I caused everybody else around me, start addressing that and making up for that stuff. So
Absolutely. That's huge.
if you're, yeah, if you're an asshole and you don't feel pain for other people, it's probably because you haven't felt the pain for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, for me it was just from the sexual abuse and shit. It was just like, fuck this. No one's gonna be around to protect me. I'll just fucking do whatever I need to do to keep myself safe, right? And then like growing up, like I love my dad, he's awesome, don't get me wrong. He was doing what he needed to do to provide for the family. But like when I was a kid, we were in a different city every year and a half, 2 years. As soon as I'm starting to get settled in, get comfortable and stuff like that, we're gone. So now I'm like, okay, well, not only do I have to fight for myself to keep myself safe and protect myself and be in everybody's face, now I gotta cut out attachments. I can't commit to anybody. I gotta keep everybody at a distance. I gotta keep a wall. It is what it is. It got me this far in life. But now in order for my business to grow, for my relationships to grow, for the rest of me to go, that's gotta go. Those walls gotta go. Those beliefs gotta go. I gotta learn how to trust again, love again, care again, get committed again, stick around for the long haul. Being where I am now, this is the longest I've ever been in one city. I'm 5 years in the same city now. When I After I moved out, I never stayed anywhere for longer than 6 to 18 months, just because it was so ingrained in me. I'm like, nope, just I would get that itch right around the 6 months mark. It's like I gotta go. I gotta move. I gotta leave. I'm starting to get attached. Just gone. So
Yeah, and once you start exploring the dark, you no longer
it
fear
just opens up.
all the you no longer fear all the fear.
Well, you hold on to the pain and you attract it too, right? Like
Yeah.
all of that pain from that childhood, my ex-girlfriends, everybody they were all projecting that. It was all shadows of it. It was all the past coming back because it wasn't dealt with. So I was finding people in similar situations with similar mentalities and I just couldn't get away from it. the more you run, the more it comes. It's like a magnet. The more you try and run away, the stronger it pulls you right back to it. So you
Yep.
gotta just break
Yeah,
those ties.
you got to break the chains.
It's simple, but it ain't easy.
Ain't that the truth? Simple but not easy.
The stacks are huge for working through that, man. Like I was already ahead on some of it, but except I was bouncing back and forth from situation to situation instead of going, okay, I went through this, now go through it again, now go through it again, now go through it again. Now I'm finally out of topics. Now I need to move on to the next project.
I'm never out of topics. I know in the beginning it was like I had to like I would go into notes on my phone and I would start writing down triggers and stuff like that just so I always felt like I had a go-to. Like
Mhm.
once you start to get ninja status in this, like literally, I'll stack a phone. I'll get pissed off enough. I'll stack a folder. I mean, literally, a pen. It doesn't matter. You know,
Yeah.
some days it's just a little shit that can piss you off. I'll stack anything, and
Yeah.
it never takes much to find something for me to stack. It just doesn't matter what it is. And at the end of the day, if I run out of something, there's always this guy. I
Yep.
stack me probably 50 to 60% of the time, just because the man in the mirror is my biggest enemy most days, and it's all of
Mhm.
our enemies. And you know, being able to work through my own shit is what allows me to project my light the way I do.
Mhm.
And that's about the only thing I really give a shit about. When I went through my last Warrior week at 44, um, during the lead up, I got the nickname the Shadow for hiding from the light, and I'm like, that like took on some seriously deep fucking meaning for me, and it's like
Absolutely.
something I almost like didn't want to get rid of for the sheer fact that it's a constant reminder every single day that where and when do I hide from my light?
Mhm.
And when I hide from my light, I hide the light from the world. And at the end of the day, I'm just robbing people of the gift that I have.
You're robbing
And
yourself too.
yeah, and this is an interesting story about my life. So I got into it was let's see, what was it yesterday morning? Yeah, yesterday morning, got in the shower and told my girlfriend, I was like, "Good morning, baby," and she's like, "Good morning, sunshine," and it like immediately triggered me, and I'm like, "Holy shit!" Because like my mind just literally races for deeper meanings to everything now,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Holy shit!" My nickname growing up with my mom and dad were Sunny Boy.
Hmm.
And then I started looking at my mom's life and as I was like getting deep into this, I started thinking about the impact the light that my life has had on the people around me.
Mhm.
So at the time, my mom, I don't know if she's gonna really like me sharing this, but at the time my mom was considering aborting me. And my dad would have nothing of it. He hadn't had a son and he wanted a son, and that was all there is to it. So I would say that one, my light kept her from living a life full of guilt, which I believe she would have lived if she would have done that. Two, I firmly believe that if it wasn't for me, there's a good probability that my parents would have never stayed together.
Yeah.
I have no idea the impact that it would have on my sister, my one sister that was my mom's daughter. Would she have met her husband? Would she have lost a daughter? Would she have, found God the way she did?
Mhm.
There's just like the ripple effect of the light of my life on other people would have been, you know, a lot bigger than I really even feel comfortable giving credit for. But, you know, my thought process was, you know, God had all this planned out for me, and something so simple and insignificant as being called Sunny Boy, and I've had a couple of my friends through my life call me Sunshine. It just like, you know, it like hit me hard. I was like in tears driving in the car, just like thinking about this, and I was like, holy shit. I'm like, you know, we really, being one of like 10 billion people on Earth, you know, we really look at ourselves as being insignificant. But the truth is, if you look at the impact that you have on other people's lives, you know, where would people's lives be if you weren't in it? And
Yeah.
you know, that's my life. You know, I'm here for a reason. I was put here for a purpose, and all I'm doing right now is just living my purpose and living the light that God gives me.
Absolutely. That's all we can do. Those of us that can find it anyways, that care to look, is you're not going to find it if you don't look for it.
That's it. That's it, man. You got to find it. You got to go in the darkness and find your light.
Yeah.
Because you won't find it anywhere else.
Yeah, joining Warrior, getting in the Brotherhood, that was like one of the best things I did for myself. I could very easily argue that was one of the best decisions, the best decision I made for myself. It actually blew me away because they they amalgamated King's Kit 1, 2, and 3, and I was in King's Kit 2. So we're all together in one group. And one of the guys from that was in the original group, King's Kit 1, talked to me like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, sent me a message asking how I'm able to do a stack every single day. I was kind of blown away. I'm like, there's no way that you're that, I guess, put together, for lack of a better word, that you don't need clarity, that you know what's going on, that nothing is upsetting you, nothing is triggering. I can open my eyes in the morning and I'm fucking triggered by something. Like,
Yeah.
if it's one of those mornings, just the fact that I have to open my eyes, I'm pissed off.
Yeah, it's just like, just living the flat line, man.
Yeah. Then I'm like, well, why? Well, like, there's no reason to be mad other than maybe I wanted an extra 15 minutes of sleep. Like, come on. I'm here for a purpose. I've got shit to do. And the longer I stay in bed, it's not going to get done. So,
That's it.
sweet, man. We've actually almost gone an hour and a half.
Are you serious? Holy shit.
Should probably kill it. We're gonna have to do another one because we could probably make a whole series out of these at this rate.
Hell yeah. All right, brother. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. So I hope some of your audience and some of my audience got something out of that.
For sure, I hope so. I'm sure as people are coming and going, they'll keep watching and we'll get some comments. So that'll be cool. And like I said, you can share it around if you got groups. It should be public. I'll double check that when we're off. You can throw it in groups or whatever. You download it, use it on trainings or something to help you grow. That's cool.
Sounds good to me, bro.
Cool, man. Right on. Thanks for coming on, man. It was great. It was great chatting.
All right, man. Same to you, bro. Love you.
Love you too. Cheers.